Yeah. The People Podcast. I'm on it here to make you think and take them black to the basis. No gimmicks needed. Our melanin was designed for this greatness. Power was created, the most high, assigned to the favorites. We win as a nation, it's mutual. Young black man, you enough. Ladies, you beautiful. Don't let them tell you different. Your energy can't be shifted. Created, nor destroyed. That's a scientific fact, so opinions is all forward. This is higher learning, higher conscious awareness of self. This that undisputed, undefeated, down in the belt. This your grandma cooking on Sunday morning. Don't touch the fridge. God is good all the time and all the time, yeah, you did. This is music for the mind. Lyrics to touch your soul. Melody for high frequency.
Yes, sir. We are back once again with another episode of Black to the Basics, aka the People's Podcast. I am your host and one half, Mr. 52 the Boss, here with my co-host.
It's your boy Jared, man. Just checking in with the kinfolk. What's going on with you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Kinfolk, another day, another dollar, another opportunity, another chance to talk to the kinfolk. We excited.
Yes, sir, man. As you can tell, I'm very, very excited. You know what I'm saying? I want to introduce a very special guest, man. We told you this season we're going to bring you dope interviews and dope content, man. So I want to introduce host of CFO Sports, Kansas City Analyst Radio, Mr. Jordan Tuck, man. What's going on, man? How you
Hey,
feeling, brother?
Tuck.
What's going on, everybody, man? Hey, thanks for having me on, y'all. I'm definitely appreciative of the invite. I'm chilling, man. So actually tomorrow, me and my wife, we headed out to the Bahamas, man. So I'm finally going to get me some R&R, some beach time, some relaxation, man. It's been a hectic season. I've been on go mode ever since football season ended, covering the NFL
listen.
draft. So this week, man, I'm finally going to shut down everything and just chill and enjoy it.
Hey,
So I'm excited.
get that time to relax, man. I was telling my boy, man, like I don't even follow when it comes to draft analyst stuff. I was like, man, he's the only. As you can see, I got my boy
Yeah,
Micah on. I was like,
Micah.
he's probably one of the only ones that I kept saying before the draft, like, bro, like we need to go grab this guy, man. No other analyst was covering Micah, man, and so I was like, he's official, dog. So it's gonna be a good shit. It's gonna be a good show today, bro.
No, we're
Yeah, man.
excited, man. We definitely, before we even start, we definitely have to say happy Juneteenth to our kinfolk out there. It is officially Juneteenth today. Obviously, when it's aired, it won't be Juneteenth, but it's always Juneteenth for us. But we definitely want to acknowledge that. So happy Juneteenth, aka Freedom Day. Also, happy Father's Day or belated Father's Day when this drops.
Absolutely.
So I hope y'all fellas had a great Father's Day this past Sunday. I know I certainly did. What about
I
y'all?
did. What about you, Tuck?
I did, man. Wife took me out for dinner. The kids, man. I got 3 amazing children, man. And like I said on social media, they're my engine. You know, a lot of people follow me on Twitter or YouTube or wherever. They see me up at 4 a.m. They be like, man, how you get up at 4 a.m.? It's them, you know. And I just think that, you know, being a black father, most importantly, it's always good to show that representation. So yesterday, you know, I was kind of just at the mall, man, and I did something that was kind of spontaneous, but I was just seeing other black fathers, man, and I was just like, Happy Father's Day, bro. And it's just like, it was so weird how it caught them off guard. It was like, because
Like,
when we
oh,
see each other, we're always on, you know, we're always on 10. We're around each other. Like, hey, bro, happy
Right.
Father's Day. And congratulations, happy Father's Day. They were like, oh, damn, thanks, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, trying to set this tone, man. It's just like things can really change. But I think yesterday was kind of a good example. It's just like, we ain't got to be on 10 all the time around each other.
Yeah.
But I'm a proud father, man. It's a grind. I understand what fathers go through, the sacrifice day in and day out. I always joke and say we're the offensive lineman of the family, man. We do a lot of the dirty work in the trenches, but we don't get the credit. You know,
Yes, sir.
mama upstairs, you know, that's the quarterback. You know, she get all the awards, all the accolades. But you know, I definitely respect any father going up, you know, day to day, providing the best they can for their children. So you got the biggest salute for me.
Yes, sir. So look, man, before we start any show, right, when we bring a guest on, we like to do our rapid fire questions, man. So we're gonna ask you a series of questions, and you're gonna just whatever the first thing that comes to your mind, just let it go.
He said,
All right,
oh.
all right, so we're gonna kick this off right now, man. So
All right.
who would you rather have at quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys and why?
It's your squad. It's your squad.
So any quarterback.
Any quarterback.
Listen,
Oh, man.
anybody.
So I actually live here in Kansas City, man. So I got to go with Pat Mahomes. Like Pat Mahomes is just different. He's not from this planet, man. He's an alien. And just to see the way he's able to carry this team, we saw what he did in the Super Bowl on one leg. So I love you, Dak. I got him right here on my screensaver, but I got to go with Pat Mahomes, man, because I saw how he just changed the city of Kansas City around. just like that, because they had Alex Smith, and a lot of people didn't even want Pat Mahomes. They don't tell you that now, but everybody wanted Deshaun Watson that draft.
Yep.
So many of my Chiefs friends were just upset about it. And now look how things worked out there on their second Super Bowl and probably got more in the pipeline. So I'll go with Pat Mahomes, man.
Okay. Hey, listen, Cowboys Nation, you heard it first.
I mean,
He said,
He said Eddie though. That's why I was
I did say Eddie. So.
He said, "No, Eddie, that changes."
right.
So I know people always have, their favorite teams, and then you got those teams of fans where they just like they're just annoying. They just rad. You don't want to deal with them. Who would you say, being in as a sports analyst, who would you say has the worst fan base of any NFL team?
Man, it's those Eagles fans, man. And the crazy thing is, like, y'all see my interaction with these Eagles fans online, but it's just nonstop. It never ends. And I just hate the little brother syndrome. It's like every little thing we do, they kind of compare. You know what I'm saying? We got blue socks, the A socks is, it's just like, why are you always comparing yourself to us? Like, do y'all ever take a break? So it's definitely Eagles. I've been to a lot of NFL stadiums. I went to San Francisco. Hell, I went there by myself.
I remember that
experience with 49ers fans. They were, and the crazy thing, a lot of 49ers fans recognized me, and they were coming up to me in the tailgate like, "Yo, are you Jay Tuck?" I'm like, "Man, who's asking?"
Like, who want to know?
Like, oh man, we appreciate your show, man. We love your content. We love that you were kind of just non-biased. You kind of broke down the positives and the negatives. So they were feeding me oysters, and it was all sorts of love. I had 1,000% guarantee it would never be that if I walked to Philadelphia. It's gonna be yeah. So it's like Philadelphia Eagles fans by far. But the crazy part, I get a lot of support from Eagles fans, so they love me.
Yeah, it's the undercover love that it never go to admit, dog. So, right. All right, cool. So you mentioned that you've been to a bunch of NFL stadiums. So outside of Jerry's world, what has been the best stadium that you have gone to? Best experience?
Well, the best experience is Arrowhead Stadium. So if you're a football fan, I recommend coming to Kansas City and going to Arrowhead Stadium. It feels like football. I mean, you park your car wherever, you can tailgate wherever, and they stand the entire game. The ground shakes. When y'all hear that Arrowhead, the ground is shaking. I was literally there when they broke the Guinness Book of World Records, and I could not hear my friend that was standing right next to me. So Arrowhead is by far the best football experience you can get, and I always say that because it's different in Cowboy Stadium. I go to every home game and say, "Can you sit down? Why are you standing?" I was like, "We're at a football game," So it's just a completely different experience. So I would say Arrowhead. Now, as far as overall stadium, ours is just top of the line. Now I'm going to LA when we play the Chargers this year, so I haven't seen it, but I guarantee, man, nothing compares to Jerry's World. It's different. I got to tour the Raiders Stadium in Vegas. It's nice, but it's just like they took Jerry's homework and copied off it and just revamped it. So it's like, man, AT&T is just in a league of its own when it comes to stadium experience.
That's what's up, man. Okay. You see, I got it in the background, so you already know what it is.
Yeah, Jerry's World, man.
Yes, sir. So, all right, another question. All right, who's going to win the NFC East this year?
Well, I mean, if you just do it by the number standpoint, you got to count the Eagles out, right? Because we haven't had a repeat back-to-back champion since 2005, 2006. So, I'm leaning towards the Cowboys and also the Giants, but I see my man over there, man. The Commanders are sneaky good with the addition of Eric Bieniemy. And here's what I've been saying. If Sam Howell actually works out, because I scouted Sam Howell closely when he was in North Carolina, if he's able to have one of those Brock Purdy-ish types of, out of nowhere type of, impact, you can watch it because the Commanders have talent. They've always had talent. They just never had the straw that stirs the drink with the quarterback position. But if Sam Howell can kind of turn to be that Cinderella story, watch out for the Commanders. So, to answer your question, I got everybody but Philly. I got everybody but Philly.
I can live with that. I can definitely live with that.
Right.
It's funny because we have another homeboy that's a Giants fan and also Eagles. So it's like every year, it's like when football season starts, we all talking trash. We're waiting to the last second. What happened? Y'all still them boys? It's always a back and forth. So
and somehow, Tuck, I'm always the one that gets the backlash, man. They'll wait until like midnight when the game is over with. About them cow, like, man, I'm muting y'all for the rest of the week, dog.
Right. Yeah, they be fighting each other and turn their aims all on you. I know how that goes.
Yeah, you know how that goes,
like,
bro.
Did y'all win this Sunday? Nope. They don't care. As long as the Cowboys lost. I'm like, okay, that's what we're doing right now.
You just feel better. You just feel better with that.
Right. That's crazy. Like, I want to get that experience. Like, if the Cowboys lose versus the Giants, I can say, well, at least the Eagles lost. Like, I'm gonna be hurt. Like, yeah, like that don't make me feel no better, man, at all.
So one of the most controversial plays, this is still talked about. People have it's a debate one way or the other. Did Dez catch the ball? Did Dez Bryant catch the ball?
Absolutely. That moment, I will never forget that moment till the day I die, because I remember I was watching the game. You know, it was 4th down, game on the line.
Yep.
And Romo said, you know what? I'm just going to go with my guy over their guy. I went to Dez. Dez goes up and does what Dez always did. Make a big catch, came down, switch hands, reach for the goal line. I'm going crazy. Like, I'm running outside. Like, I'm out in the parking lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm screaming outside. Like, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Like, I'm just like exhilarated. I come in. My wife is like, they're reviewing. I'm like, reviewing what?
Reviewing what?
The catch.
She's like, they're reviewing the catch. I'm like, there's nothing to review. Like, what there's nothing to review. And man, when they overturned that call, man, I cried. I cried. And it was just like they took it from us, man. So that Dez caught it. Like, I don't know if Cowboys fans will ever be able to get past that moment, because that was a really good 2014. And then what happened after that, it's like, then you lose DeMarco, and then you lose Whit, and then, you know, like, and then that was kind of the end of it.
The trickle down,
that was the end of that team story, and it's just like that what if moment. Because I feel like if we would have went to the NFC Championship, we were loaded, ready to go. But you know, it's just
listen. I almost went to jail that night, bro. I remember I was and it was a bunch of Packers fans in that joint. I'm talking about it. I mean, and then after I came back inside, just like you, I ran outside. I'm yelling, "Give me my money!
Let's go!"
Back, and they like, no catch. I'm like, oh my, yeah. So that I almost went to jail that night. Though.
Yeah, luckily I was at home. I would have been a fool. And if I'd been in the stadium or somewhere, yeah, man, it'd been a whole other story about that. Yeah.
You think he warmed up weeks?
I think he's ready to go, man. With that catch, that is the easiest. That's the easiest way to start an argument with a Cowboys fan. Be like, it wasn't. They will give you play-by-play breakdown. They'll tell you the time of day, where they were at. It's like when people think about tragic events, like they can give you every detail. I remember what I was wearing that day. I went here, and like everything about that event. So I think with that one, we loaded.
And then the next year they ruled it as a catch. Like,
they just changed the rule. Oh yeah, that's a catch now. You know, I'm like nah. So I remember, you know, I had a good friend, and we've been friends. I mean, heck, since elementary school, and we were on Facebook, because I was on Facebook way before Twitter, and we've been good friends. And she was kind of posted like clip by clips. It's like, Tuck, it wasn't a catch. I just blocked her. You know what I'm saying? I don't care that we've been friends since almost 2nd grade. You blocked, whatever. I'm not hearing none of that. I don't want to hear none of that right now. You know what I'm saying? So it was an emotional moment with that catch, but you know,
I will say this, right? I think that was the NFL's way of getting back from the week before, because you remember we played Detroit and the whole pass interference thing. So I'm like, okay, the NFL tried to get us back.
Though, man.
Nothing to do with it.
It's karma.
Yes, sir, man. Well, look, so we got you warmed up. So we're gonna get right into it, man, and bring your story to the kinfolk, man. So we know you're a sports host in KC. Is that home for you? Is that where you originated from? Or is that where you developed?
I'm originally from a town called Wichita, Kansas, home of Barry Sanders. So that's where I'm originally from. I grew up there. But you know, when I was like 4 to 7, right, I lived in actually Dallas. So lived in Dallas with my mom and my dad and my aunts down there, and then I moved back to Wichita in Kansas. So I have some of that Dallas bloodlines in my veins. But been in Wichita, then I've been here in Kansas City probably since 2009-ish. Here in Kansas City. So yeah, that's primarily where I've been majority of my adulthood life is in Kansas City. After I graduated from college, I went to the University of Emporia State, where I played football. Leon Lett was the other notorious famous player that played for Emporia State. So I got to meet Mr. Lett one time in a Cowboys game, and I was like, "Oh, I remember you. Like, we're the two popular guys from Emporia State." And he was like, "Who are you?" I was like, I'm somebody now. Shout out to Leon Lett, man. So yeah, I've been in Kansas City primarily the majority of my adulthood life.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask you. So that's where you developed your love for sports in Kansas City, or that's just something that's been a part of your whole upbringing?
Man, sports has always been a part of my life. The crazy thing, though, football was a late bloom. So I didn't play football until my senior year of high school. I was a basketball player, and I was a pretty good basketball player actually at that in high school. And everyone always tried to talk me into playing football. It's like, nah. And then finally, my high school football coach just came to my house one night and talked to my mom. Was like, I think this kid can be special. And here's a funny story. Salute to my coach, Coach Sharps, man. He lied to me, right? So, one of my favorite players, I love the tight end position of Jay Novacek, but also I love Tony Gonzalez, who played here in Kansas City. So he's like, I'm going to make you converted basketball player to tight end like Tony Gonzalez. I'm like, all right, cool. I can work with that. You know what I'm saying? So I get out there, and I was like, I'm not playing tight end. So he had me at left tackle. So I'm extremely green, had no idea, no football experience. I was playing left tackle. And then all of a sudden things just started to click, and I was playing left tackle. But now, since I understand the game a lot more, I understand why he stuck me there, because we pulled a lot. We ran a lot of counters, a lot of traps. So I was constantly pulling. I can get around, the line of scrimmage actually quick to get up to the second level. So it makes sense now. Back then, I was just like, man, this ain't no tiny. Like, don't
give me the ball.
So, yeah. And so, luckily, I was going to play basketball. Went to a school where I was going to play both basketball and football. Basketball coach got fired. New coach comes in. He's like, you can pick one or the other. I was like, all right, well, then I'm going to go football because I don't like the new basketball coach. Then the football coach got fired, so it let me out of my scholarship. Went to Emporia State, which is going to go to school there. And then the coach was like, nah, you're going to play for us as a walk-on. Started as a walk-on and ended up playing linebacker. So my first day at camp, in college, I'm not a tackle no more. I'm linebacker. I'm just like, I ain't playing no defense. So it's like, it was really unexperienced. So I played a lot of football just under instincts. But, my love of football really just kind of came from the Dallas Cowboys. But honestly, it was pretty much like once I got into college and really had to study the game, that's when things grew.
That's what's up. Okay.
Yeah, so you definitely mentioned about being an athlete, and one of the bigger criticisms or the athletes have with sports analysts is, particularly like a Skip Bayless, with people who weren't necessary athletes, particularly at the collegiate level or even the professional level. So what is your opinion as it relates to just people that are, into sports media, but never actually have been on a professional level or even a college level, still being, commentators?
Yeah, I don't think that you have to be an athlete to be a great journalist or be in sports media. But what I think you have to do is understand and respect the game. Right? Because if you ain't never played it, right? But then if an athlete fires back and say, okay, was I supposed to be in a cover 2 on this play or cover 3, and you don't know, then that lack of respect, and even for me as a content creator, I'm constantly like, y'all see all the film I'm watching, it's because I want to be better, because I have to earn that respect from the players. Like, all right, when I'm breaking down film, you might think that, I don't know, Trayvon Diggs is getting burnt, but I might say, bro, he's a cover 2. Like, he's supposed to cover the flat. Everything over the top is the safety, right? So it's just like one of those things I want to add on to myself. So, it's one of those things. If you didn't play sports, I get it, but you have to really, really understand the nooks and crannies of the game to be respected, in my opinion, right? Because if you just come in just talking, no experience, you ain't never played it, and you don't study and understand it, what are you analyzing? What gives you the right to tell me what I'm doing when you don't even understand what I'm supposed to be doing? So, it's one of those things. So when it comes to Skip Bayless, he kind of wears that badge like he covered the Cowboys.
Forever.
The Cowboys, right? But did you cover the game, right? Because I remember he was talking about Micah Parsons in the draft, and he was like, Shannon was talking about an off-ball linebacker. He was like, an off-ball linebacker? I never even heard of that word. I'm like, well, how can you be covering football for so many years since the 90s, never heard of a difference of an off-ball linebacker? And so when you have those types of conversations and you have such strong opinions, as an athlete, you're going to say, why is your opinion valid? So, it's just a double-edged sword. But I just think if you're not an athlete, then you should definitely just be in the lab, have knowledge, and really understand the game. And I think the respect will grow from there.
Yeah, because I definitely have watched several interactions. I just was skip with just other athletes being, they hear the analysts talk about, hey, they should have did this play or they should have done this, and then it gets to a level where transfers over to being personal. Well, and I remember the one interaction with Richard Sherman where him and Skip were going back and forth at it, and he was like, "I'm better than life." Like it got into a point, and I'm like, well, what's that line where you, like you said, where you draw of, and it sounds like based on what you're saying, is just that respect for the game to be able to say, I'm just not just talking about it, but I'm trying to get better with it along with it. And I have that respect enough to understand the game.
Right. And I think it really comes down to not using strong, adjectives. That's my personal belief, right? I'll never say this player's trash or he sucks or he's garbage. I might say, hey, he might struggle athletically in man, you know what I'm saying? But he's incredible. And so, it's like, so if you're going to say the negatives, you have to say the positives. And that's my frustration with a lot of sports analysts. If they bag and bag and bag and bag on a player, there's no way you can tell me this kid does nothing good. And so what does he do good? Now, maybe the negatives outweigh the positives or vice versa, right? But tell the full story. And so that's always what I'm a proponent of. It's like, you know what? Tell the good, tell the bad, and then form your opinion from there. So that's why me personally, I lean on the film. So when I do a lot of these draft analysis, like, oh, Tuck, you said this about the player. Well, I was just watching this. Y'all showed it to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was seeing the same thing. So it's like, yeah. If I see a player can constantly get beaten, man, I say he constantly gets beaten, man. That's where I'm basing my opinion off. But I always show my work. And I think that's the most important piece why a lot of people gravitate towards me and what I've done. Is just, I'm just going to show you my work. I might be wrong, but because sometimes I might watch 4 film clips, right? I might have missed the 5 games where he's actually incredible, man. But these 4 that I watched and we posted and cut up, he wasn't good in these games. So I just think it just takes balance.
Right. And then also earlier you mentioned about being an earlier lover, I would say, obsession of Cowboys, because Cowboys fans are they don't just like the Cowboys, like they love it. They got a bumper sticker, they got on their ID, they got a license plate, if they got a debit card that has it on there. Typically, whenever I talk to a Cowboys fan and you ask them how they got into, being a fan, it's usually some type of history associated with that. So what was your introduction where you got to be, a fan of the Cowboys?
Yeah, so it was from my mom. Some people see me with her at the game a lot, but we lived in Austin, and back then the Cowboys used to have their camp at the University of Texas. So I have pictures of me when I was like super small with like Troy Aikman. So being a Cowboys fan was something that's kind of just born in me to be a Cowboys fan, and it's something I've always just gravitated to. But I really remember when I really personally myself became a Cowboys fan, and was primetime Deion Sanders. Like, for people who really don't understand, for who are a lot younger, like primetime was bigger than anything we've ever seen. Like, we still haven't seen that today. I mean, music video games, commercials, like baseball, it was shoes, it was just everything. And like Deion was just in your face. And I just remember when he came to Dallas, had that blue bandana and it was just like my eyes just lit up. And that's where it's like, all right, the seeds that my mom planted in me of being a Cowboys fan, it just blossomed. And I was just like, you know what, I want to be that, I want to be like that. So, I used to wear the turtleneck, with the logo athletics and the band. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, so like that was it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Deion used to wear the headband around his neck. Like, I was wearing that every day. Like, your mom was like, watch that headband. I'm not wearing that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it was really Deion. Yeah. Like, all right, you need to watch that headband, bro. But it was like, it was Deion that really just put things in the light where it's like, all right, I am a Dallas Cowboys fan. And just things just haven't changed since then. Here, I'm still rolling with them.
Yeah, man, through the ups and downs, man. Listen, I'm never turning my back on the star, dog. I'm right there with you.
Right. Show him your back tattoo, Irv. You gonna keep talking about it.
I don't have a back tattoo. Stop saying that, dog. Stop saying that, dog. I don't have a back tattoo. But so when did you reach a point where you decided to, transition into journalism and cover sports? Being an athlete, when did you come to that point?
Yeah, well, funny thing is, I have a degree in actually journalism, so I always wanted to get into sports, but just never cracked the way to get through. And so, all of this really started during the pandemic. I never had a YouTube channel. I started some podcasts with a few friends, 2 episodes, 3 episodes, it flamed out. But it was Skywalker Still, who from A to Z Sports. He kept hitting me up on Twitter. It's like, yo, bro, I want you to come on my show. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll come on your show. So I came on the show. set up out there in my man cave, and we just talked Cowboys football for hours on his live show. And I had no idea about this whole YouTube content world or anything. And everyone in the chat was like, "Who is this guy, man? I like him. He's on fire. Like, this guy's lit." I was like, "What? Do I really actually got it?" You know? So it's like, he was like, "Yeah, bro, I see you actually got it." And he was like, so I started my channel, and my very kind of like first video, you know, still has like 44 views to this day, right? But it was me making my prediction on who the Cowboys should draft. And I was like, with the 17th pick of the 2020 NFL draft, the Dallas Cowboys will select CeeDee Lamb at the University of Oklahoma. And of course, you know how Cowboys fans is, ain't no chance he's gonna be there. We not getting no wide receiver. We already got, you know what I'm saying? And so then, you know, it kind of fell into fruition. And then it was just like, all right, I got something. Let's just drop videos after videos, tweets after tweets. You know, I'm humbled and blessed to be at 20,000 you know, followers on Twitter. I remember when I started in 2020, I probably had like 200, 215 or something like that. So it's just all about sweat equity. And I just feel like the Cowboys nation really responds to me is because I'm one of the fans. You know, even though I'm media, everyone sees me at every game. So, they know where my tailgate spot is. They know, you know, so it's like it's different because I really merge the fan and the media together. And so it kind of blends. And I think that's where a lot of people respect me. It's like, you know, not only do you see Tuck covering the Cowboys at an in-depth level, but he's also outside with us too. You know, like you can,
he one of the people.
You know, yeah, you know, people pull up on me all the time at Cowboys games, and you know, take photos and we'll have drinks, and, you know, all sorts of stuff because it's just the love of the Cowboys fandom is what's really my engine that keeps me driving and do this content. So I'm definitely appreciative of that.
That's what's up, man. So I gotta ask, man, what was the process of becoming credentialed college football and NFL draft analyst, man? Because, like I said, I stopped really watching mainstream a while ago. I follow your work. I'm just like, how did that process? Like, what did you do to get to that point?
Yeah, it was really my guy, Darren Smith, here in Kansas City. Darren Smith is like the oracle of the Kansas City Chiefs coverage, been doing it for years. He's like the godfather. And, you know, Darren kind of caught wind of me during the draft. What was that, the Vegas draft? Yeah, so was that not past the year 2020?
Yeah, before that, right?
In Vegas, right? And he was like, man, he saw all my videos I was posting. He was like, he reached out to me on Facebook and was like, where are you getting all this draft coverage from? You know, breaking down these players. I'm just like, I'm doing it on my own. He was like, wow. How? And so I showed him my spreadsheet. Like, people don't know that, like, I have like 400, you know, prospects in my spreadsheet. And it's literally just me in an Excel sheet doing it the old fashioned way, breaking down stuff, locking in. And he was like, oh, he's like, I need you to come on the radio and talk to this young NFL draft. And he was like, can you cover the Chiefs? So I was like, yeah. I was like, if you tell me what the Chiefs need, you know what I'm saying, I can go grocery shopping. You know what I'm saying? It's like, they need corners. I was like, boom, okay, Trent McDuffie, George Carl, you know what I'm saying? I knew the groceries to buy. And so that really strengthened our relationship. And then, you know, it was something, they were going to play against the Cincinnati Bengals. And he had to go to Cincinnati, and he also covers the Kansas Jayhawks, who I'm a huge KU fan, basketball fan, everything. He's like, hey, I got to go to Cincinnati. He's like, can you cover the Jayhawks? I was like, yeah, absolutely. So, you know, he put me in there, gave me the press pass, and I sit down with Bill Self, who's like a Hall of Fame coach, interviewed the players in a big, you know, KU versus Kentucky game, gave him all the notes, all the interviews. He was like, all right, we working together now. And that's just been my huge blessing. So, you know, Darren's one of those guys who really is that upper media, upper echelon. He didn't have to reach down. It's like, no, this guy's talented enough, and really gave me the opportunity. And once I got my opportunity, I was determined to run through it. So, you know, college football, basketball, NBA, whatever, you get me in the door, I'm gonna work. So
he said, whatever you need. Jay Tuck said, I got you.
Yeah, whatever you need. You know? And I think it really comes, you know, to my brand as well. You know, I don't really cuss as much. You know, like I'm just presentable because, like you said earlier, we want everyone to be able to appreciate our work. You know, my 3 first subscribers on my YouTube channel was my 3 children. They was upstairs watching my YouTube show and try to make sure it even worked, right? They were the first 3 in the comments. So I wanted to have content that kids, old people, whoever can watch. And he just really enjoyed my brand. And I just feel like what it gave me the opportunity to do is create that respect with kind of, I call the old media versus the new media, and say like, hey, even though I'm quote unquote a guy in the basement, I can step up and be professional. I can, you know, and conduct interviews. I can go on radio. I can go on TV and do all these things. And also I can come downstairs and turn on my camera and host the whole show by myself. So now I just think they're seeing the versatility of what we do with a lot of us content creators. And it's like I said, it's been a true blessing for the relationship that Darren was able to, reach down and pick me up, because he didn't have to do that.
Absolutely, man. That's a great story, man. You mentioned earlier about your brand, and of course, I just want for you to let the people know what is CFO Sports, and what would you say the difference from hosting on that channel and being an analyst on the radio, or what's the difference between that? So
yeah, so CFO Sports, well, funny, it stems from Cowboys Fans Only, right? So Cowboys Fans was the only, and I was kind of thinking of a name, right? And I was like, I'm gonna start OnlyFans because I got all these haters on. I was just joking, and my friend was like, just go with that, because I tell people, when you're starting content, the main thing is to start and fix everything while you're in the air, because a lot of people get, man, I'm gonna start a podcast, but
waiting for the right moment.
waiting 4 weeks to come up with the name. Like, bro, I'll name it later. I'll figure all that out. So it started off as Cowboys Fans Only, but that was the one thing that Darren really kind of helped me with. He's like, it's not inclusive to Chiefs fans. If you're a Chiefs fan, why are you going to watch content that says Cowboys Fans Only? If you're a Bears fan, why are you, so it's like, all right, how do I switch it up? So that's where CFO Sports really stemmed from. Now, when it comes to my content, when I'm on my channel versus I'm on the radio, it's pretty much the same thing, because I don't really have to change. I'm just the same way. I just do the same things. I have the same types of conversation. It's not like, my CFO show is dark and gritty. And, it's just the same conversation. I'm always talking ball. So, when I do my show throughout the week, once the season starts, I'm doing a breakdown. So when we play the Giants, I'll break down their offense. I'll break down their defense. I'll do analytics. I'll do film, ways to exploit. And I just transition that and say it in the radio. Now, the main difference is I'm talking primarily about the Chiefs versus, the Cowboys.
Right.
It's a little bit more work. And I say this is because if you cut my veins open, we cut your veins open, Irv. We bleed Dallas Cowboys blue. Like, everything that happens to the Cowboys, something happens right now. Tony Pollard signs right now. I know about it. My phone's blowing up. I'm on it. But like the Chiefs, I have to kind of work a little bit, reach out to, hey man, where y'all here in that camp? Because I'm not in that community. So, that's the one of the biggest challenges, but it actually makes me work a little bit harder, because it's like, all right, I really have to research the Chiefs versus the Cowboys. Everything happens.
Second nature.
It's already know. Like, when someone starts talking about TJ Bash from Oregon, I'm like, oh, okay, that's the left guard. We got an undrafted free agent. He played against Detroit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just easy. Versus the Chiefs, I'm like, hold on, let me
pull up.
Let me look up some stuff.
and I know everything you said is 100% accurate, because Irv, as a Cowboys fanatic, he, every moment anything that's going on, he got notifications in his car. I was riding his car one time and his car started going off with notifications. I'm like, you got notifications in your car? Like, so I know that is a fact. They know everything that's going on. I'm like, do you work for this team or something? Like, but I get it.
Man,
I get it.
Like it.
But one of the things
it's just how locked in the fan base.
Yeah, of course.
It's just all locked in this fan base. It's just nonstop.
Yeah, when you got a place called Jerry's World, what else can we expect? We can't expect nothing but real fans like that. But one of the things I thought that was dope about what you're saying from your show and being on the radio was that you're a student of the game, right? And you're always trying to be better as it relates to just being on the radio, being in sports media. And I think for us, for people that are not necessarily, we don't know what the ins and out of media, right? Our understanding is, you go get ready for a show, a couple hours, you get somebody give you notes, and then you go ahead and report on it. That's just our understanding. So to hear you talking about the spreadsheets and I got to do this and watch coverage and film, and it's like, okay, wow, I didn't realize that it takes this much work to put that in. So I think that's great for you to be able to share that there's a lot that goes into being good at what you do.
Well, I'll say this. It may not. For others, it may not, but for me, I'm the type of person, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to see, like, how far can we really take this thing? If you would have had this interview back in 2020 and say, hey, Tuck, in 2022, you're going to be in the Super Bowl interviewing Joe Burrow. All right, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's get a few subscribers and get, 10 people to watch this show first, right? But once I gain the momentum, all right, let's see how far we can really push it. And, Irv mentioned kind of the Micah Parsons draft, right? I wasn't heavy on draft content that year, even though I was kind of like starting. That's like kind of like my first draft year, breaking things down, right? But I was also screaming about Micah Parsons, like, hey, if we want to go defense, we should get this kid. And like, there were so many people in house for the Cowboys, trusted media was like, there's no chance they're getting Parsons. He's out of it. There's no chance. I'm just like, I mean, but why not? You know, so it's like, all right, it doesn't make sense. So me being the new guy, I was like, well, maybe I'll shut up. Maybe I don't know what the heck I'm talking about, right? And then boom, that pick was in, and they went with Micah Parsons. And that was the light bulb that, nah, Tuck, you can do this just as capable of anybody else. You just got to lock in. So the following year, right, the Tyler Smith year for Vegas, I really just locked in, and I just kind of trust my eyes and trust, you know, what I see. And for the most part, I've kind of been maybe not 1,000% right, but I kind of been on par, right? There was not a lot of people who even had no idea who Jalen Tolbert was. I did a video on Jalen Tolbert while the Cowboys were still in the season because I found him from South Alabama scouting some other players, you know, so just watching film, like, well, who is this kid cutting up? And the crazy part, the kid he was cutting up, we actually drafted him this year, Eric Scott Jr. Out of Southern Mississippi. But it's like, you know, Jalen Tolbert was just going crazy. And so when you're watching college film, I'm not sure if, you know, if you understand it, there's no shortcuts. I can't just search, hey, show me all of Bijan Robinson's highlights or Bijan Robinson's touchdown plays. You have a film, and it's just an hour and a half, and you're just sitting here watching Bijan. Watching Bijan. What can I talk about? But then while you're watching Bijan, you're like, who was the defensive tackle over here cutting up this game? And so you'll look, and so that's kind of been my process. Now, is it probably the easiest way? No, but I just trust what I've been doing, and that's just what kind of works for me.
Yeah, it's very thorough, man. So yeah, shout out to you. Like I said, I look, you see, I got the shirt on today because I'm like, I remember that. I called my uncle and was like, hey man, they Tuck, this guy I follow, he's like, yo, we need to go get Parsons. They selected it, man, and it turned out to be a great pick. So shout out to you for that, man. Like I said, nobody was talking about Parsons from Mel Kiper, none of those guys, man. I thought this is crazy. So shout out to you.
Well, it was funny because the other night we had Brian Broaddus from DallasCowboys.com, who's been a scout, you know, for a Super Bowl winning scout.
I like Brian.
Packers, and yeah, Brian's a great guy. And he paused us on the show and was like, how did you guys know that Micah Parsons could be an edge rusher and put his hand in the dirt? The scout that I spoke with that scouted him said he never saw any of that on film. And I was just like, well, did he watch the Memphis game or the Ohio State game? Because I had clips of Micah Parsons putting his hand in the dirt. So I'm like, how does little old me from Kansas City get this intel on Micah Parsons, like, and you not have it? And it was just like, all right, that really lets me know, like, all right, Tuck, the work is actually paying off because it was all there. Like people don't know, like Micah Parsons was a top recruit running back to Penn State. Like he can play running back, could play safety, linebacker, edge rusher. He's just a football player. Just put him out there on the field and tell him to go. I think with Micah, it was that he had the opt-out year. He opted out, and maybe people forgot. But I was like, if you watch that bowl game versus Memphis, he was just crazy. He was going crazy. I was like, Micah Parsons had the sexiest draft film I've ever seen. It was just like a creative player. So it's like, why did the Philadelphia Eagles trade back and allow the Cowboys let that to happen? Like, I don't understand it. But hey, I'm thankful and blessed that we got him. Micah, he's back there, man. Salute to Micah, man.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you for doing that, dog.
yeah.
And I also know that in sports media, there's a lot of things that go on that us normal people wouldn't understand and know about. But there's been a lot of events within the NBA, and I know necessarily you're on football, but there's been a lot of incidents that have happened. Even you talk about starting in 2020 from Black Lives Matter movement. You have a lot more things that relate to being social activism, right? You have incidents that are happening in everyday world that now they're brought over to sports media now. So has there ever been a time where you had to report on a topic or something that you were conflicted on? Because I think about the situations like with going on in the NBA with like Ja Morant. You think about things that about Cap and everything that was going on around Cap, and then the conflicting reports as far as that, and just so many more things. Even LA Clippers, when they had the owner, they were trying to get out, and the team was like, we're going to boycott, things like that. So has there been a time within your career that you've had to report on something that you were maybe conflicted about?
Yeah, a lot of times, and not just report, but, you know, on Twitter. And I just feel like, you know, being a black man in sports, you know, you're kind of conflicted. But for me, it's about being bold and being brave. because I guarantee we cover the Dallas Cowboys. Let's keep it a buck about the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, we kind of know, right? But there's some Cowboys fans that probably didn't like Jay Tuck in a Juneteenth shirt, right? But I don't care, so it's like, it's one of those things. Like, if you are the type of person who only wants to hear Jay Tuck talk about football, you want me to stick to sports, I'm not the person for you, because that's never going to happen. So if there's something going on where I think I can use my platform to make a change, I apologize, but you're going to hear about it. And there's nothing you can do to silence. Now, as an approach to go about it, right? You can't just be, kamikaze and say naturally. You have to strategically plan it, right? But it's just like, I voiced my opinion on a lot of things. I mean, my biggest thing that got me in trouble had nothing to do with football. It was just about Cam Newton and Brittany Rayner and Savannah James. Like, it was just like a random tweet that went viral to, so it's like one of those things. But it's just like, I've always been taught to voice my opinion and be bold when voicing my opinion, not just with sports or anything. So it's just like, you can't be afraid. Because I think some people think that, if I do this, if I talk about this, I might lose this. But if I don't talk about this, I could lose my life. My kids could lose their life if I don't speak up. So it's like, you know what? I'm always going to be bold. And hey, if I spoke up on Black Lives Matter, or someone didn't like me wearing a June t-shirt and I got pulled off the radio, well, then that wasn't the station I was supposed to be on. At the end of the day, I got CFO Sports. That's my home. That's where I built brick by brick. And I'm not going to be muted for anybody. I just think that's the approach to kind of have. And it puts people in weird situations. Like, I don't want to say just shut up and dribble. Now, here's the thing. You have to be educated on what you're talking about, right? Because sometimes... Say that again. You have to be educated on what you're talking about, right? So there's some situations like, Tuck, I want your thoughts on this. Like, I don't know enough about it. So for me, just shooting from the hips, because I'm never just going to pick a side without knowing everything that's going on, right? So it's like, okay, something happens, or there's a shooting or whatever. All right, let me research it, and then I'll form my own opinion. But it's not this, you have to be on our side or else. So it's like, nah, I really don't do that. So, I always voice my opinion. You just got to be bold. And I think there's a lot of media people who do it, but there's also a lot of media people who kind of shy away from because they're afraid of what that impact could be. But I'm just not one of those guys.
Hey, salute to you for for speaking your mind, but also having the facts behind it. I think that's always important. We've always had an understanding, like, when it comes to certain things, when people ask you a topic and you're not, I don't have enough information to just raffle off about it. And I think that's important because, like you said, you mentioned you had 22,000 followers, or the people that are following you. So if you just went off the hip and just saying anything, it's like, well, you got people that you also have an audience of the brand that's looking at you, maybe following what you're doing. If you're just saying something, a blanketed statement without nothing to support it, it's like, it could be, a bad situation for you.
It can be very dangerous.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of people get themselves in trouble, right? Because as soon as something happens, social media wants you to make a decision right now. Okay, we got this news clip. We just saw this video. Tuck, you gotta make a decision right now. Like, bro, what's the full clip? What happened? Okay, I got a 30-second clip. What led up to this moment? What happened after? You just gotta. I was like, I'm just not a person to move like that. So I'll sit back and wait until I get a full, 2-minute interview or a 3-minute interview, because your little 30-second segment that you clip ain't enough for me. What led up to it? And I think a lot of people, a recent situation that happened. I'm a huge Florida State fan with Travis Rudolph, right? And then I was talking about, Travis Rudolph in the situation. Well, a lot of people are like, how could you support him? He's a murderer. And I was like, you don't even know the full story, right? So, but if you knew the full story, you will understand this could be any of us,
it could be any situation. That situation was crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy story, but there's so many different layers to it versus ex-football player was involved in a murder. That's the headline.
The headline.
It's easy to kind of jump. Oh, put him in jail, lock him up. Yeah. But do you know what led up to the actual shooting? And so it's like, what? It's okay on social media just to be patient for a minute. So I just think that's a problem just with our society as a whole. We just don't need instant gratification or instant judgment. Let's all the facts play out.
Microwave, man. We want everything immediately.
Let
it put it in the oven sometimes. Let that oven preheat for a second. Let it cook evenly. Make sure the center is good. I'm definitely a fan of that. So definitely salute to you on that. One of the biggest topics, though, right now in sports media, other than Ja Morant, is definitely our favorite uncle that everyone calls, Undisputed. Skip and Shannon. The band is breaking up. They're going their separate ways. We've yet to know what Uncle Shay is going to do. But Skip has been criticized heavily for several reasons. But there's people who say he went too far on many occasions, it got out of hand. Other people saying, nah, this is just co-hosts having a thing. What are your thoughts about that situation, being as you're someone in media as well? So what's your thoughts on that whole situation?
Yeah, I think Skip, and I honestly, I used to watch Skip way back when he was on Cold Pizza with like him and Woody Page, right? Because, back then that was the only way to kind of get some Cowboys news was watching Cold Pizza.
Watch
And then
Skip,
it kind of transitioned, it was from Skip, right? So it's like, I've seen Skip kind of grow and he kind of found his lane. But I feel like Skip breaks my number one code is debate the topic, not the person. We can go back and forth about John Moran or, whatever, Dak Prescott, whatever. But as soon as you start aiming those bullets directly at me, I feel like all gloves are off, right? And I just feel like when we saw it happen with Shannon, it was just like, you're jealous, you're this, you're that. And it's just like, I get frustrated because it's like, here's a man that you brought Shannon Sharp onto your show. You found Shannon and handpicked him, right? But you let your love for Tom Brady blind you to the fact where you're going to shoot shots directly at your partner, your co-host, who you are working with every day. Like, and does that just didn't sit right with me. So I was vocal. I was like, Shannon, you don't need him, because what happened, and I think Skip really realized this, Shannon started off as the B side. It was clearly, eventually he was the A side. He was the show. We watched for Shannon. So it's like, I just don't think that Skip was able to handle that. So he was just trying to tear Shannon down to that surface level, who is a Hall of Fame tight end. Like, a lot of people think that Shannon Sharp is just this media guy. No. We talk about Gronk and we talk about Kelsey and Antonio Gates. Shannon was that guy. He's not just a media guy. So for Skip to shoot those shots at him, it was just like, all right, bro, I don't think that you really still need to be on the show, because I feel like Club Shay Shay was a much better show. So when I heard the news that they were separating, I kind of understood it, because you kind of saw the tea leaves unfolding, especially with the DeMar Hamlin situation. Me personally, I was done with Skip the whole Dak Prescott situation. It's just like, you're calling a man mentally weak for saying that he had to address his mental health after his brother died. It's just like committed suicide. It's like, what kind of coward are you? But it's just like, that's the things that people don't understand, because in media or TV or whatever, you can say those types of things without any repercussion. Like that's the thing. Like, I can say whatever, I can do whatever. Right. What's going to happen? But it's like, what? Sometimes those aren't the cases. You might have to actually, would you be comfortable saying those same things and calling Dak Prescott mentally weak, sitting across the table from Dak Prescott? And if not, then you shouldn't say it.
Probably shouldn't say it,
Yeah. And that's just where I'm at. So, I think that Skip is going to bounce back. He's probably going to find someone. If he finds LaShawn McCoy or something,
listen, I hope he don't do Shady McCoy. No offense.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like, good luck with that one. Everyone's like, Tuck, you should holler, man. I would be on that show for probably 2 days. They get me off. It's like, I can't do it. It'd be fun while that lasted. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see where Shannon Sharp is going to go.
Yeah, man, I think he's going to be dope and great in any situation. Like you said, man, myself, I was an avid listener of Undisputed because of Shannon. You know what I'm saying? And then when those events transpired, I'm just like, I really can't watch it anymore. You know what I'm saying? Unless they were talking about something, with Cowboys related or, my Lakers or whatever. But other than that, I really stopped watching. So now I'm curious to see where Shannon goes, because I will probably be tuned in to that, man. And you mentioned some earlier. As being a father, man, like, how do you balance being a father, being a husband, doing the draft analyst, just creating so much content? Like, what is that work-life balance for you? You know what I'm saying? Is doing those things.
Yeah, man. My kids, my family are my priority, right? So they always come first. So there might be some nights where I can't do a show, but for me, I'm just a hard worker. I get up early, man. So I might get up early, work out at 4, be done at 5:30, get them ready for school or whatnot. They're a lot older, so they're easy to kind of handle things on their own, right? But I might come down here in the lab and watch film, or I might watch film while I'm on the treadmill. So it's like I'm always just finding time to build myself. But it's just like, I think creating extra hours throughout my day has really helped. But like I said, they've always come first, and sometimes it's like, all right, I can't do a show, or, I might have to, reel things back a little bit to make sure that they are being taken care of. and not being jeopardized. And I feel like that's where a lot of people really make the mistakes once they get into the content world. It's like, how do you balance it all? You know, like for me personally, like sometimes I have to tell myself, all right, Tuck, get off of Twitter. I'm like, you've been on it too long. Get off of Twitter, go upstairs, go see if your wife needs anything, needs any help, you know, because you're just down here in go mode all the time. And so sometimes you just gotta know your checks and balances, I think, and that's the most important piece. But you know, you got to have a strong support system, and my wife knows what I'm doing. It makes me happy. She sees, you know, my passion. She knows the passion of mine. She sees the things I'm accomplishing, the joy that it brings me. So she's, you know, sometimes she'll tell me like, "Have you done the show yet this week?" I'm like, "Nah," you know, like get off the PlayStation, go make a show. Like,
get it.
all right,
Go get it here.
Because she knows, you know. And then it's like, you know, also have my kids be supportive. You know, it's cool to have a YouTube dad, and you know, all sorts of stuff like that. So, you know, it's just about balancing your time, but always keeping your family first, health first before any of this. And then just that extra time you got to make sacrifices. So for me personally, I don't watch a lot of TV. You know, like I might catch on a TV show, you know, when it's all said and done, you know, but it's like majority of the time, it's like I'm either on a show or I'm plotting for the next show, or, you know, just getting my ideas kind of circulating where things can go and how to take, you know, the content to a whole nother level. So that's kind of my thought process.
Oh, that's definitely dope.
I think we all.
Yeah, to have family first, that's definitely important. Because
absolutely.
Let's be honest, a lot of people are not like that. It's like, hey, I'm sorry, I ain't gonna be able to come to your game. I ain't gonna be able to ain't gonna be able to help you with that homework. And for you to sit there and say like, nah, my family's first, and you even said there's some nights, hey, I ain't gonna be able to do a show at night. I think that's important, you know, especially now, like you said, in this generation where kids, it seem like the kids is not kids. they shorten that or something, because it's like, 1 minute you hold them in a baby, next minute they in school, next minute you ready for college. So it's like things are happening fast.
Right.
Yeah.
But for you to sit there and say, look,
exactly what my life is.
Family comes first, and you know there's gonna be some times I'm gonna have to make some adjustments. I think, you know, kudos to you and salute to you for saying, nah, I gotta kick with the kids, and I gotta make sure they get straight and make sure that's good. And that's important because not a lot of people see it that way.
My YouTube can get deleted tomorrow. You know, my Twitter could vanish. Hell, I had almost 40,000 on my Facebook. Got my Facebook hacked, got kicked out of it. They were like, tough luck, start over. You know, so it's like those things could go away. These kids, they here for life. Dad gonna be by their side for life. So that's the most important aspect. So it's like you have to have checks and balances. And I feel like I've seen so many cases, just not with, you know, sports content, but where social media just consumes you, kind of like, you know, the movie Venom, where that dark, you know, venom cloud just takes over someone's soul and body. It's like you got to have checks and balances and remain who you are. The same person y'all see on social media is the same person y'all see if y'all saw me at a Cowboys game, or if y'all pulled up and saw me, you know what I'm saying? Like I this morning I woke up, did lawn work, you know what I'm saying, cut the grass, you know what I'm saying, grilled out for the family. Like I'm doing everything normal, but when I get this extra time, I can either be watching TV right now, or I can be on here talking sports and football with y'all, which I definitely enjoy. And the good part about it, y'all, it doesn't feel like work. This isn't work. You know what I'm saying? I know we might be time constricted because of you guys, but I can go all night. I've done 7-hour shows. I've done 8-hour shows. I've done 5. You know what I'm saying? Like I can just keep going because it doesn't feel like work to me. I'm just talking what I love.
That's what's up, man. That's great to hear, man. Like I said, I know I've been following you for a while, so it's good to see the things that, like you said, how you are on Twitter, or just how you on social media, and just how it translates, man. So salute to you for that, bro.
And one of the things we always try to do when we bring a guest on, and you know, they have content, they're a creator, they're creating something that's different. We want to make sure that we always, as you have someone do for you, reach back. So there may be someone looking at this, maybe a young kid looking at this, and maybe they want to get into journalism or sports media or any aspect of what you've mentioned you do, even content creating. So what advice or what would you like to leave those people who may just be interested to just find out how to get in this world? What would you leave them with today?
Yeah, my number one advice to everyone who reaches out to me is just start. Like I said, just start. You don't have to have the best camera. You don't need 4K. You don't need a computer. You don't need Photoshop. If you have a cell phone, pull out your cell phone, turn it horizontally, record yourself talking about what you love, and then upload it and go from there. Now, it's not going to be easy. You're going to do that. Going to be 3 people watching. You're going to do it again, 4 people watch, right? But if you really love it, you're going to continue to grow, continue to climb. And then eventually, hey, all right, now I have 100 people watching. You might get a little check from YouTube. Okay, take that check from YouTube. Now you go buy your computer. Okay, and then take the next thing. Now you buy your camera and you build yourself up. If you go back and watch my CD Lamb video that I said I did in 2020, this room was empty. It was completely zero. There's nothing in here, nothing on the walls, right? Completely empty, but just piece by piece, brick by brick. So I always tell people, start it and don't be afraid to fail. At the end of the day, if you go for your goals, you go for your dreams, and if you fail and you fall short, right, you're going to be right back to where you are right now. You have nothing to lose, right? But the one thing that I cannot live with is just that regret of saying, what if? You know, I would be mad at myself. I'm sitting back here in 2023 and sitting back saying, man, I'm looking at Rome, my guy Rome and DMV, and, you know, everybody do all this incredible stuff, and sitting back on Twitter watching all these Cowboys fans talk to all these content creators like, man, what if I would have just listened to Skywalker and started that YouTube channel? You know, so it's like, and then that would eat me more than, hey, I started a YouTube channel, I posted 100 videos, they all brick, it just ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? So like, at least you know. So that's going to be my biggest advice, is just start and don't be afraid to fail. I do a lot of different things. You know, people who follow me closely, like on Instagram, I'm doing boxing right now. Well, Tuck, why are you boxing? You're 40. Well, I always wanted to box. So, you know, what
I got to lose?
except I'm not fighting in the ring. You know what I'm saying? I lose your life, you know what I'm saying? But training for a box, like I always want to see, like, what is it like, the mental capacity it takes to train it, and tell you, it's crazy, and I'm definitely enjoying it. So writing books, like do all sorts of different things. Do not limit yourself, because you never know what God has in store. Like I said, I never had dreamed that one day I'd be tweeting or messaging or texting Des Bryant like we're good friends. You know, like it would sound crazy to me 2 or 3 years ago. Now I talk to Des almost daily. You know, Micah, you know, Dron Curse, and so many different players. This is like, it's crazy. But if I would have never just went for it, I would have never knew that, hey, God has something for me in plan. I just got to see the vision. So yeah, just start, y'all, and you know, you have nothing to fear.
Hey, I don't even know how to follow that up, man. So before we get out of here, man, first and foremost, Tuck, I want to say thank you for coming on the platform, man. It was enjoyable. I was able to learn some stuff about you that I thought I knew you pretty well just by following you, man. But so it was very refreshing to hear those things. It's good to have 2 Cowboys fans in here versus my man.
Oh my God, this dude.
Man. So before we get out of here, man, like, you know, where can the people find you at? You know what I'm saying? Drop all your handles. Where can you be located? Where can they watch the content?
Yeah, appreciate you guys for having me on. I had a blast, man. We still have to talk about that Madden game. I know you've been trying to get.
Man, listen.
Madden.
I made somebody quit in the beta today, bro.
Yeah. Also, yeah, man.
Please get this man an L, J Tuck. Please, I can have something to talk about.
Yeah, man. I've been kind of cooking on the beta. I might get on here in a minute. I got a pack though. I'm a last minute packer. But yeah, you guys can find me on all social media platforms at JTuck151. That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I appreciate all the support, man. I just love talking to passionate, just football fans, not just Cowboys fans, but football fans in general. My YouTube channel is CFO Sports on YouTube. Comment, like, subscribe. We do a lot of draft content. We're doing a lot of film breakdowns on Cowboys players. So I just did a film breakdown on J-Ron Curse and Malik Davis. Got a few others in the pipeline as we get ready for camp. And then I'll be out there live for camp. I keep messing up these dates, but I'll be out there for a full camp on the second week of August, I believe, to cover camp for the Cowboys out there in Oxnard. And then the season will start. So definitely follow me to stay in tune, man. I just appreciate all the support, you know, the platform that the fan base has given me. It's been all love. I'm definitely appreciative of it, blessed. You know, I can't say that enough because they didn't have to do that. I mean, there's a Cowboys content creator born every day. It could have been anybody. But, you know, the Cowboys fan base really rocked with me. Gave me the opportunity, and then, you know, I never take that for granted. And also, you can find me on 810 WHB Radio every Sunday with my guy Darren Smith here in Kansas City. We're talking about all things Chiefs coverage as well. But yeah, I'm everywhere. So JTuck151, you'll find me, face pop up somewhere. So appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. No, appreciate you, my brother.
Yeah, we'll definitely make sure that we drop all the handles in the visual aspects. So all the people in Radio Land, y'all here, but if you come on the YouTube page, we'll make sure we drop the visual so you can easily be able to follow my man J Tuck. I just want to say, salute to you, brother, for, being a student of the game, taking your craft serious, perfecting your craft, trying to hone in on that skill set, being aware of your voice and your platform. For us, a lot of times we don't realize the power that we really possess. For you to understand the power you have and the voice that you have, and utilizing that platform is definitely important. You mentioned some things that kind of struck a little chord with us, because in the beginning we had no clue what we were doing as it relates to podcasts. We got a board, was like, I don't know how to use this board. I had to watch YouTube videos for 2 weeks. And like you said, if we would have stuck in the world of just trying to get everything perfect and wait, we would have never started. We even had moments in the beginning where we were trying to reach out to people, and people were like, we don't really know who you are. And now here we are, 3 years later, 7 seasons later, being able to get someone like yourself on a platform to talk about what they do and just, really leave a positive impact for our kinfolk, as we call them. So salute to you and everything you're doing. We definitely will tune in even more to what you're doing, even though you are a Cowboys fanatic, and my man is too. I'm gonna have now every time he gonna be sending me stuff.
Look what have you on Washington.
Right, he gonna come up. Look what Jay Tuck this post. Of course, man. Of course, I love the back and forth, man. And it's just, for me, I'm not someone who's as enthusiastic as Herb is for it, but I understand the rivalry. I understand, to me, it's a good time to be able to have that kinship that you have amongst your people, man. So it's always a good time. And anytime Irv gets a Cowboys fan, he's gonna talk about it for 6 months. So we're gonna talk about this interview with you for the next 6 months, man. But we definitely appreciate you.
Absolutely. Listen, yes, sir. Listen, I'm that guy that after the Cowboys lost Tuck, I'm gonna tell you how really it is for me. I will go put on my Cowboy stuff if I don't already have it on. I'm gonna go to Walmart. I'm gonna go somewhere so somebody can say, "You see that game today? Oh, it's go time."
Wait,
so
yes,
I am that invested.
Right,
I'm in the investment, my boys.
Yeah, man. I bleed it, man, and that's what I love. Is it's like being a passionate Cowboys fan, and just for that star, man. It's all I know, And I tell people, crazy thing. I was talking about Cowboys nonstop on social media, anyways. I just put a name and a face and a brand behind it. So it's like, I have the tweet about I was at the draft in Chicago, and NFL Network was like, all right, day 3, Cowboys Nation, who should the Cowboys draft? And I posted Dak Prescott, proven leader, and it's like they never read that tweet, but it's like I was doing draft stuff back then, just nobody cared.
I'm not new to this. I'm true to this.
I'm true to this, guys.
So it's like, you know what? Now it's just echoed a little bit louder. So it's like I said, as long as you love what y'all doing, man, y'all gonna be perfectly fine. Just keep moving forward. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of things that come your way. And to be honest with you guys, I didn't handle it the best way when I was young. There was a lot of slander coming my way, but I think that was because a lot of people saw my momentum. It's like, all right, who is this kid causing all these waves? But now I know I can handle it a little bit better and put it on my shoulders, because there are a lot of people, whether you know it or not, are looking up to you. There's a lot of people. I get so many messages like, man, you inspire me. I'm looking up to you, like kids in college and everything. And that's why, big or small channel, if you got 2 subscribers or 2 million, if I have the free time and availability, jump on, because I knew what it was like asking for someone, like, are they even going to respond? Like, no, I'll jump on. I'll jump on and talk football, because I've been doing it, for longevity in my life. So salute to you guys, man. Keep rocking. If you need my help in any capacity, I don't say this lightly, reach out to me. I'm here for y'all.
I'm sure Irv is gonna pull up on a game with you, man.
Yeah, man, pull up. So yeah, man. I mean, pretty much every game. So I don't do noon games, man. I'm the only noon. I don't do the noon game. So, but majority of the games, man, I'll be out there. Lot 10's where my tailgate is. So I'll be out there with a bunch of Cowboys fans.
I know exactly what that is. So
yeah,
it's not gonna be hard to find you, sir.
Yeah, right there on the corner. Just tell people to pull up on me, man. And that's what people love. It's like, no, Tuck is genuine. I pulled up on him, gave me burgers and beer and chill, talk sports. So that's what it is, man. So I'll be out there. I'm ready for football season to start. This is kind of the dead season. Like I said, crazy thing, the draft, it kind of carries me a little bit. So it's like I really didn't get that much of a break, to be honest. But we almost did July, and I can't wait to get started.
Yes, sir.
Well, definitely,
we appreciate you, brother.
Of course, definitely appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure, kinfolk, go follow my man JTuck151 on all platforms. Like I said, we're gonna make sure we post everything else in the actual visuals. Jay Tuck, again, we appreciate you, brother. But Ken folk, please remember,
Absolutely.
when I talk, you talk, we talk, that's that free talk right here, the People's Podcast. Catch y'all next week.
Peace.